Welcome back to the NFL on Fox. 32 degrees here in Cleveland, Ohio. Mostly cloudy. No sign of snow right now. It's J.C. Pearson, the California in him, likes that.
Yeah, this is perfect football weather if you're a Midwest guy.
Romeo Crennel, in his third season at the helm of the Cleveland Browns, has turned things around. And Mike Nolan told us, listen, high expectations this year. They didn't meet them. He expected at the very least 8-8.
Yeah, no question. And it's been disappointing for all of them. You know, they've had a lot of injuries, especially on the offensive side of the ball and the quarterback issues. Chris Winke's going to start today, and they just want to finish on a positive note. They've, you know, the one thing that hasn't been missing from this team all year is effort. They play hard. They play till the end of the game.
San Francisco won the toss, and they elect to receive. Phil Dawson, the only player remaining from the Browns' inaugural team when they re-entered the league in 1999, kicks it off. And it is taken by Maurice Hicks. Hicks hit at the 22-yard line, and that is where Chris Winke will start for the San Francisco 49ers, the fourth starting quarterback for the 49ers this season. His 20th career start, and the last time that he started, it was for the Carolina Panthers back on December 24th against the Atlanta Falcons. And he was 4-7 on that day, and in fact the Panthers went to D'Angelo Williams on direct snaps, and Panthers won it 10-3 against the Falcons.
But if you only throw 7 passes and you're the starting quarterback, that's why he wants to show today that he still has it. It's an audition for him.
Under center, and they give it to Frank Gore, and Gore will grab a couple of yards on a hard run. You take a look at some lineup notes.
Yeah, and the hats today are on the wide receivers. They have to step up, and Chris Winke said that he anticipates a lot of man coverage, and he's going to challenge these wide receivers to get open and make some plays, and that's a lot easier than it sounds, actually, or a lot harder than it sounds, because as a group, they've got the second least catches of any wide receiving core in the league, so those guys haven't made a lot of plays.
It'll bring up now second down for a former Heisman Trophy winner at Florida State, and that pass is batted down, intended for Vernon Davis. And now for the Cleveland Browns.
Well, they've got to win with defense. Today they're missing Orpheus Roy, one of their starting defensive linemen, but they've got to win with defense. And if they're trying to get to the playoffs, obviously they are trying, but if they get there, they've got to do it with defense. Offensively, they've played very well. They've struggled on defense at times, but you know that old cliche, you win with defense and you entertain and sell tickets with offense. Well, their defense has got to step up and play better.
It'll bring down a 3rd and long now, 3rd and 7. You just saw Bobby Hamilton. That's right, Bobby Hamilton is back. He was just signed the day after Christmas, and he got the start. The 13-year veteran out of Southern Miss. Winke has time, steps up, throws, and the pass is batted in the air, and it's intended for Darrell Jackson. And that'll bring on the punting crew for the 49ers. One of the things you talk to the 49ers about, they said his strong arm.
Yeah, it is, but you see here, Darrell Jackson's got to beat man coverage, and this is tough because they're playing 2-man, so they're playing underneath coverage on him, and anytime you run those short routes, those corners are going to be under that.
And those timing routes as well. Andy Lee, the Pro Bowler, back to Josh Gribbs, the Pro Bowler, takes it at the 30, to the 35, to the 40. Will he get by the punter? He does, into 49er territory, still on his feet, as he is knocked out of bounds at the 32-yard line of San Francisco by Jeff Albrecht. How dangerous are you?
Well, that's why Joshua Cribbs is the Pro Bowl punt returner for the AFC, and you can see right here he just makes some guys miss. There's a lot of white jerseys that are unblocked. Look at how many guys actually miss him. Does a good job right here planting that outside foot and then just turning up the field, making guys miss, makes the punter, miss, and now the Browns start out in great field position on the 33-yard line of the 49ers.
61-yard punt, but a 53-yard return, JC, for Cribbs, who's headed to his first Pro Bowl. The Kent State product, was a quarterback there. Derek Anderson under center, coming off of one of his worst games as a professional. He gives it to Jamal Lewis. Lewis goes straight ahead. And he'll pick up 3. Derek Anderson, when you look at what he's done this season, it's been impressive. Remember, he didn't start the first week. Charlie Fry did, and then he picked up his 9 5 cents.
Yeah, it's really been impressive, especially the touchdowns number, 28 touchdown passes. And, you know, he's had a lot of help. Obviously, the system fits him much better. They brought in Chudzinski as the offensive coordinator. Jamal Lewis has helped. And for Derek Anderson, he's definitely improved and helped himself.
And, of course, he gives all the credit to the O-line. They have been outstanding all season long. That'll bring up 2nd down. Now the give once again. Lewis straight ahead. And one of the concerns of the 49ers is obviously their defense and stopping the run. But you look at the Browns and what they need to do offensively.
And offensively, they just have to regain their swagger. And that starts with the quarterback, Derek Anderson. As you mentioned, he threw 4 interceptions last week. They really blew an opportunity to secure a playoff berth. And they kind of lingered with all of those guys throughout the week. And there's nothing they can do except come out and play better today. And they've got to get back to doing what they had done most of the year offensively, and that's put up big numbers.
1st and 10 after the 8-yard gain by Jamal Lewis. Anderson looks to his right, fires, passes, picked off. Picked off by Walt Harris, his 4th interception of the season. It was intended for Kellen Winslow. And Derek Anderson, after 4 picks last week on this drive, throws one here.
It used to be easy to name college football's greatest play. But now there's a new contender to the crown.
Throws it over the middle, complete to Thompson. Thompson looking for a block. He laterals it to Curry, and Curry laterals it again, and it's caught again. And Tomlin now on the lateral, and now the lateral to Thompson, and he laterals it back to Maddox on the other side. Maddox looking for a block. He fakes the lateral to Curry. Now he laterals it to Curry. Curry's at the 49-yard line. He's dancing around. He throws it back now to Maddox, who throws it across the field to Barmore. Barmore looking to run. He's looking for a block. He's got a convoy. He's going to throw it to Thompson. Thompson's at the 30-yard line. Thompson now laterals it back to Curry at the 35. They're running out of spaces. Curry fakes. He's going to lateral it to Tomlin. Tomlin's got a chance to go. Tomlin's got a chance to go. He laterals it. Now he's going to go to Maddox. Maddox at the 30-yard line, and now it's a lateral, and Curry's still going.
No way!
Curry's
No way!
It's a touchdown!
It's a touchdown!
Scores! The game is over!
See all the best college football action live on NASN.
Own company play.
The pickoff from the right arm of Derek Anderson.
And it was just a bad decision and bad throw by Anderson. Going to get Kellen Winslow just on this out and up, and he's covered. Walt Harris sees him, sees the ball, sees the quarterback, and Derek Anderson, just a bad throw, throws it right to Harris.
The give to Frank Gore off the left edge. Gore has a 1st down and a couple of more. The Browns, they waste a 53-yard punt return to the San Francisco 33. You go back to last week, JC throws 4 picks, and he comes out today on the 1st drive. He throws an interception.
Yeah, and that's not a good sign because, like you said, last week, those 4 interceptions, especially those 2 right before halftime that led to 13 points for the Bengals, just dug themselves too much of a hole. And even though they came back and had a chance to win it at the end of the game, you can't put yourself in a hole like that. And now they come out here in this 1st drive and they don't get points on a drive where they should have.
They threw a pick in the end zone in the 3rd quarter as well against the Bengals. And he told us, he said, hey, listen, about the 4 interceptions, I've done that before, which he did last December against Tampa Bay. Yeah. And he said, at least I didn't throw 6.
Yeah, he was a little too nonchalant about that for me. It seemed like he wasn't concerned about it at all. And, just matter-of-factly, well, I've thrown 4 before, and, good thing it wasn't 6. Well, when you have that kind of attitude, next thing you know, it is 6.
It'll bring up now 2nd and 7 for the 49ers. 35-year-old in his 7th year out of Florida State, Chris Weinke. Of course, a previous 6 with the Carolina Panthers. He got the call when he was up in New York with his wife for the Heisman weekend on a Monday night from the 49ers, and flags are down on the field. He said, on Tuesday, my wife flew back to Charlotte and I flew to San Francisco.
Full start, 46, offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Bill Corello, our referee, and so Weinke said the toughest part when you open up that playbook, where do you start?
Yeah, it's the terminology. You know, he's been around a long time, and there's only so many plays you can run, but everybody calls them differently. So he had to get used to the terminology. And we asked him, well, where were you working out? He was throwing to high school kids back in Charlotte, trying to stay ready.
And watching that Carolina Panthers situation, of course, they had used 4 starting quarterbacks this season as well. Rolls out, and he finds Vernon Davis, and Davis will pick up a few, and Vernon Davis brought down. Davis in his 2nd year out of Maryland.
Yeah, and the focus for this Browns defense is stop Frank Gore and stop Vernon Davis. They feel like those are the 2 main weapons for the 49ers, and obviously everybody comes in wanting to stop the run, but then they said we've got to be very physical with Vernon Davis at the line of scrimmage. Don't allow him to release freely and run down the field.
It's 3rd and 6 now. 49ers last week knocked off Tampa Bay at home 21-19. They've won 2 consecutive. 4 wide receiver set, 3 to the near side. Gore in the backfield, and a screen pass to the near side. Gore squares up, cuts upfield into Brown territory as he runs over Brodney Poole, and he's brought down at the 41-yard line, and a gain of 21 for San Francisco.
And that's exactly what the Browns knew coming into the game. The last play, it went to Vernon Davis. Now this play, it goes to Frank Gore on just a little swing pass, and those are their 2 playmakers. Those are the guys that have to touch the ball, and particularly Frank Gore, who's their leading rusher, obviously, and their leading receiver in terms of catches, and he's a guy that can do it all. He's one of those dual threat backs that doesn't have to come out of the game on 3rd down.
1st and 10 now for the 49ers. Weinke with time dumps it over the middle, and Hicks will pick up a couple. One of the concerns, you talk to Romeo Crennel and you look at the Browns on tape, it's been their defense.
Yeah, it has. And, you know, and particularly up front, though, they haven't been good against the run. They give up, on average, 131 yards a game on the ground, and that's not good enough. And Romeo knows that, and he told us that that's something that they've got to fix next year is that front 7. They've got to get better stopping the run.
They've been better at bringing pressure over the course of the last 7 games, but in the first 8, just dismal, just 7 sacks. Again, once again, Frank Gore right up the middle, and they're chewing up that front 7 now for the Cleveland Browns, and a gain of 6.
And, you know, we talked about Cleveland and how many yards they give up a game rushing, and, you know, they're 28th in the league right there. And when you look at the records, look at all the other guys, you know, because typically when you can't stop the run, you're going to lose a lot of games. And the Browns obviously are 9-6 on the verge of getting to the playoffs, but that's not because of their defense. Their offense has been that good.
Yeah, their offense has been stellar. It's 3rd and 2 now for the 49ers. From the 34 of the Browns, a give. Gore right up the middle, and did they stop him? They may have come up strong. Andre Davis on the stop. And they're going to measure to see if he had enough. I mean, you know you're hurting up front when you go out and you bring in Bobby Hamilton, who hadn't been around all season long, just signed on December 26th. And of course, Romeo Crennel brought him in because he's familiar with him with the New England Patriots and the Jets.
One of his guys, and you know, he doesn't have to come in and learn the system. He really knows what to do, and Romeo thinks that, you know, on a short-term basis, Bobby Hamilton can come in and just hold it down for him.
They're short, roughly a yard shy, and he'll bring up 4th down. Second game of the doubleheader. All eyes are going to be on the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins. Will the Redskins advance into the postseason, or the Vikings and the Broncos, or the Rams and the Cardinals? Coming up next on Fox. They're going for, why not?
Yeah, Frank Gore doesn't have a helmet. His helmet was on the sideline. They had to run his helmet out there.
On the season, 5 of 16 on 4th down. Wenke under center. Movement up front.
Full start, 64, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
And that's kind of what's happened to the 49ers all year. They get in a situation where all they need is a half a yard to get a 1st down, and then they jump off sides or false start. You see the crowd noise there.
Yep.
David Boss just couldn't hear. Joe Staley, those guys over there just couldn't hear the snap count and went too early.
Lee to Cribbs. Cribbs calls for a fair catch at the 15-yard line, and a missed opportunity by the San Francisco 49ers. Browns ball when we return.
There are 380,000 NCAA student athletes. And most of us will go pro.
Most of us will go pro in something other than sports.
In something other than sports. Go to ncaastudent.org to find out how.
The hard-hitting action continues with the second game of our Sunday doubleheader. It's the final week of the regular season, and playoff lives are on the line. The modern-day Gladiators let it all hang out in the final week of the regular season. The NFL on NASN. Live next.
A lot of Colts fans here in Cleveland. Well, they're really Browns fans, but they
They're Colts
love
fans
it today. Yeah, no question. Tomorrow, forget about it.
Big Colts fans today.
If the Colts win tonight, the Browns are in. If the Titans, if they win, the Browns are out. The give straight up the middle. And Jamal Lewis is brought down by Michael Lewis in his 6th year out of Colorado. And this is a game everybody in Ohio is waiting for. The Titans and the Colts. It'll happen about 400-plus miles to the west of us in Indianapolis. You see what happened in week number 2, 22-20. The last 3 meetings, JC, decided by 3 points or less, but the Colts have won 8 of 9.
Yeah, and the Titans always play Indianapolis tough. But the problem, again, for the Colts is they're going to rest a lot of guys. Peyton's probably not going to play a lot. They've already said that Jim Sorgi's going to play at least a half at quarterback.
Anderson finds Winslow. And, you know, there's a lot of Browns fans, you know, that have actually emailed Jim Sorgi throughout the course of the week.
Yes, this is probably the only place that he has a fan club. He probably doesn't even have a fan club in Indy, but they're going to be rooting for him and the Colts very hard tonight. And, you know, we talked to Romeo about it. You know, they kind of downplayed it and said, hey, you know, we're not going to have a watch party. Guys are on their own to watch if they want or not watch. He just said that, you know, if Tennessee wins, then we all come in tomorrow for exit physicals and we start our off season.
Of course, Romeo Cornell and Tony Dungy extremely close. In fact, Joe Jaravicius said he's not even going to watch it, which is hard to believe. Jamal Lewis straight ahead. And Lewis will gobble up more yards in a 6-yard gain before he is brought down. Would you watch? Have you watched?
They're all going to watch. They may say they're not, but they're all going to watch because that, you know, their playoff lives depend on it. So they'll all be watching whether they, you know, flip back and forth or whatever, but they will all be tuned in, as well as all of Cleveland.
And the families will be tuned in. You know, you're gonna, your text messages, emails, everything. Flip over, flip over. 1st and 10 now, and the give once again. On the ground, Jamal Lewis, and a heavy workload early on after the interception by Derek Anderson. The give once again to Jamal Lewis, and a gain of 6. And you look at the AFC playoff picture.
Yeah, and you know, New England, Indianapolis, they have first-round byes. San Diego, Pittsburgh, they've clinched, of course, and they'll have, you know, playoff games at home. Jacksonville is in, and you know, this right here. What happens right here between Cleveland and Tennessee, and it's all up to Tennessee. If they win, they're in. If they lose, Cleveland's in. That's why all eyes, at least around Ohio, will be there tonight.
Jamal Lewis, and he is stopped right at the line of scrimmage with 4:25 remaining here in the first quarter. And talking to Phil Savage, of course, you look at Jamal Lewis, and he's in the final year of his deal.
Well, they want him back, and rightfully so. And you know, he went over 9,000 yards rushing today. He's only the 26th back in history to do that. And he's been very productive, and he's a big part of why these numbers are so good offensively, because with the threat of a running game, you have to bring a safety down in the box. That opens up things for Braylon Edwards and Kellen Winslow, Jared Vicious to catch balls.
3rd and 4 now for Derek Anderson, and he throws to Edwards, and the pass is broken up by Nate Clements in his 7th year.
Yeah, he's had a great year, and he's always matched up on the opponent's best receiver. Look how physical he is with Braylon Edwards right here. Jams him at the line of scrimmage, throws him off his route, makes him flatten down, and then he's able to come and knock the ball down. And you know, Braylon Edwards at 6'3", 215 can normally overpower smaller cornerbacks, but Nate Clement, one of the more physical ones in the league, won that battle.
Former Buckeye from Shaker Heights, Ohio, a suburb of Cleveland, went to Shaker Heights High School. Dave Zastudil to Michael Lewis, taken at the 25-yard line, and Lewis is brought down at the 30-yard line. Nate Clements back in Cleveland, Ohio, his hometown, the Buckeye.
NASN Trivia Timeout. Who is the only NFL player to lead the league in total yards from scrimmage for 4 consecutive years? Stay tuned. The answer is coming up.
I'll trade you a Red Sox home jersey and a Rangers t-shirt for that Pirates jacket.
No way! I want that Cardinals hoodie and that Braves away uniform and an item to be named later.
You drive a hard bargain. Majestic Athletic, the official uniform supplier for all 30 Major League Baseball teams. Available now all over Europe at NASN.com.
Welcome back to Cleveland. Terrell Brown, the rookie out of Texas, is still down and being attended to by the San Francisco 49ers staff.
And that's not good for the 49ers because they're already very thin at cornerback. Shante Spencer and Marcus Hudson, those two guys are inactive today. So now if Terrell Brown is out, then they only have one backup cornerback.
All right, we will return to Cleveland Browns Stadium right after this.
Hockey Fights Cancer has raised more than $9 million for cancer care, research, and awareness.
Don't give up.
Join our hockey family in the fight against cancer. Log on to NHL.com and join the fight.
Don't give up.
hard-hitting action continues with the second game of our Sunday doubleheader. It's the final week of the regular season, and playoff lives are on the line. The modern-day Gladiators let it all hang out in the final week of the regular season. The NFL on NASN. Live next.
Welcome back to Cleveland. Certainly something you never want to see, but as Terrell Brown's being carted off of the field, you don't want to see it on the last regular season game. Changes his offseason. Chris Wenke. The give, Frank Gore off the right edge, and he is unable to get more than a couple and brought down by the veteran Willie McGinnis.
Yeah, unfortunate for Terrell Brown. You see him right here, number 25. He's just going to get that right leg rolled up right at the end of the play. Right there, you can see he'll immediately grab that right knee. Right there, looked like he got hyperextended, so hopefully it's not as bad as it looked on that replay.
2nd and 8 now for Wenke, who is 3 of 5 for 29 yards. This is the 3rd time in the history of the 49er franchise they've had to use 4 different starting quarterbacks. Last time 2005. Frank Gore, plenty of room, and Gore a couple yards shy of the first down marker.
Well, that's never a good thing when you have to start 4 different quarterbacks, but Frank Gore is the heart and soul of this offense, and it all has to start with him, and he's running the ball well so far. You know, he's got 7 carries already. He's caught a pass, and they've got to use him in a multitude of different ways to get him the ball. And he'll take a lot of pressure off of Chris Wenke if he can get going.
3rd and 3, and he's gone through so much this season, injuries and then just personally as well. 3rd year out of Miami, the death of his mother and former teammate Sean Taylor at the University of Miami. Wenke under pressure, and he is brought down by DeQuell Jackson.
And that's part of a guy who doesn't have any timing. He's new to this offense. The ball's got to be out of his hands. The Browns are going to bring pressure. See DeQuell Jackson, he's just going to come off. Look how far he's coming to make this play. That ball's got to be out of Chris Wenke's hands. Don't give DeQuell Jackson time to get there, but when you're unfamiliar with where the guys are going to be and at what time, you tend to hold the ball too long.
The big leg of Andy Lee to Josh Cribbs, who takes it at the 25-yard line. Cribbs has the seam. He cuts to the outside at the 40. Cribbs with only Andy Lee to get by, and he does. Touchdown, Browns. 76-yard return. The Pro Bowler Cribbs takes it to the end zone.
You've got a return guy like Cribbs. It makes it so much easier as a team because people focus on offense and defense and they kind of sleep on special teams. When you've got a guy like Cribbs who can go the distance anytime he touches the ball, it really takes a lot of pressure off. It gives your offense great field position. Even though they didn't take advantage earlier, he just takes it all the way himself this time.
3rd touchdown of the season on a return, 2 of them on kickoff returns. Phil Dawson through the uprights. Cribbs. Forget it, man. You ain't getting them.
You're gone.
NASN brings you unrivaled coverage of the best sports North America has to offer. Get the best seats in the house for the biggest games in the best leagues 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Watch the NFL from preseason all the way to the playoffs with over 60 regular season games, the postseason, and live coverage of Super Bowl 42 from Phoenix. Get live coverage of every game of the World Series and don't miss an inning of the MLB regular season with up to 260 regular season games and the All-Star Game live. Experience the most comprehensive coverage of the NHL anywhere in Europe with over 200 live regular season games, the 2008 NHL All-Star Game, and the Stanley Cup Finals live. NASN takes you to pit lane in the high-octane world of NASCAR with live Busch Series racing and keeps you up to date with the Nextel Cup and Truck Series with daily episodes of NASCAR Now. Get courtside with the best conferences in NCAA college basketball with a packed schedule of games between the top teams and unrivaled coverage of March Madness. See the power and skill of the finest players in college football with full season and bowl series coverage, including all the BCS games, live. And with all your favorite news, highlights, and analysis shows, including PTI and Around the Horn, you won't miss a minute from any of your favorite sports all season long. Log on to NASN.com now and join the world of NASN, your leader in North American sports.
Well, you see Michael Robinson on the right there for the 49ers. He's going to get a chance to try to make up for his mistake in coverage, and his missed tackle is what led to Joshua Cribbs' touchdown. We're going to take a look at that here in a minute, but Michael Robinson definitely wants to try to make up for that here.
So the Browns up 7-0 on their first ever punt return for a touchdown by Joshua Cribbs. And taken back at the 8-yard line is Hicks. Hicks brings it out to the 35, still on his feet, and a big return for Hicks before he is smothered and tackled by Lawrence Vickers.
Well, you know, on punt coverage, everybody is responsible for a lane. You come down in lanes. This guy gets held up, and here's Michael Robinson. He's in his lane, but he doesn't break down. He misses a tackle. Now Joshua Cribbs makes him miss. There's no one else there. It's a middle return. You see, he doesn't break down. Michael Robinson, you got to come down under control, keep your weight over your hips so that you can change directions. He doesn't do that. He misses the tackle, and now Andy Lee has no shot to stop a guy like Cribbs.
Remember when we talked to Mike Nolan and we asked him about anything different in coverage with Cribbs? He said, no, we're just going to cover our you-know-what's off. And that time, guess what?
No, he came back to bite him.
First down now and 10 after a 44-yard kick return. Wenke with plenty of time goes deep up top, and he underthrows it, and it's knocked away and almost picked off. Intended for Arnaz Battle.
First of all, Chris Wenke, he just stared all the way at Arnaz Battle, and they knew where he was trying to throw the ball. Arnaz Battle does a good job, but watch Chris Wenke. He's going to look at one guy the whole time and just try to wait for him to come open. Then at the end of the play, Arnaz Battle right here, he's got to turn to a defensive back. He's on offense, now he's on defense. I've got to get that ball out of there, and does a great job.
Lee Bodden, who had 2 picks last week in Cincinnati. Career high day for him, unable to secure that, and Gore slips up. And DeQuell Jackson right there, and he is able to make this.